Hello and welcome everyone to week 3 or day 3 of week 4 of the PPL. Today is going to be going back into Europe, and even though the matchups might be a little bit more skewed, there's still a lot of importance when it comes down to the standings. But before we get too far into it, my name is Gormizer, and joining me on the desk once again is Rain Day and Pretty Hair. And I mean, today is important. FNATIC and NIP right now are neck and neck in the standings.
Everything matters. Everything matters. That's an exciting time in Paladins where every moment, every point, every play, it does give you this kind of feeling that it's land season.
Yeah, and it's rarely been like kind of this close amongst the top 3 or so in Europe. I was sitting there kind of just staring at the 5-game set between FNATIC and Mouse, still kind of shaking my head and just can't believe that happened at this point, given how FNATIC's year has been. We'll see how they look today, but I just doubt they're going to take down Na'Vi looking like they have been.
That's actually the first thing I wanted to mention is the FNATIC, they go all the way to 5 with Mouse. And even though they're able to win it, they're sitting, I think, 1 map right now behind NIP. So wins at this point matter a lot between them and NIP. Whichever set they're playing, even though they're not playing each other anymore, is going to matter. If it's a 3-0, a 3-1, a 3-2, if they end up losing it, if they're able to take it to 5, things like that will matter. So does FNATIC at this point, with this lineup, can they actually take a map off of Na'Vi to be able to get themselves even in the ballpark with NIP at the end of the day?
A lot of question marks, man.
I don't know, man. I don't know. I think that I wouldn't be surprised if they get one, but I also wouldn't be surprised if they didn't get any, looking like they have been.
I think unbelievable is really the question mark, and how that's going to fill in for Thiel. And he's going to have another couple of days before this matchup, obviously, so he may see a little bit more effectiveness when he came out. The first debut wasn't great, but it doesn't mean that it can't get there. And he's obviously a world-class player. He's a world champion, and he knows Na'Vi. Let's not forget about that. He was a part of Na'Vi, and that does give you some confidence knowing that you're not seeing anything you haven't seen before. Despite them being so good, it's familiar territory, and that's why I wouldn't be surprised if FNATIC have a pretty good showing today.
You had actually said at one point that unbelievable to you was not a we're going to win the rest of the split pickup. This was a we're going to have to go to land, especially with where they're standing. We might have to go through the placements. We might not even be able to just go straight to HRX. So we need someone who has that caliber level of play who can fill in where they are. But Tuesday, they also had some really wonky drafts. Most of these highlights from Brymarsh, this was a very good draft from them, good play from them. But then a couple of games later, you can see a little bit where Fisheko on Zen was kind of the only highlight for him.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, this wasn't even unfortunately, this wasn't a highlight. He looked really weird on the Zen all day. And Fisheko not on a Willow, not on a Drogoz, not on an Eevee at all for 2 games in a set that they ended up struggling in is really unfortunate. I feel like they need to get blasters onto him. They need to find a way to, if it's not, flex onto Cassie, Leon, get that kind of pressure on. I don't think the Zen was working for them nearly as much as they thought it would.
And they need to draft around it a little bit heavier. Zen is a pick that in this meta, we don't see him very often. He's a guy that I think he used to be a big part of it, right? He used to be heavily drafted around, and he, I think, is sort of figured out now. A lot of people, what type of loadout this guy runs when he plays in, yada, yada, yada.
Right.
So they might have to invest a little bit heavier into it. But you mentioned Leon, you mentioned Cassie. Those are all great picks that aren't blasters for Fisheko if they get banned out, and they probably will be this set.
So right now, FNATIC is sitting at number 3.
God, they need Bomb King, dude.
It is.
They need Bomb King.
They really need Bomb King.
They need Bomb King more than any other team needs Bomb King.
You see why it's so important when Bomb King is there, because blasters, when you are a main blaster guy that can flex on the other things, that's your bread and butter. And you just haven't had that. You're taking away a real reason why Fisheko and FNATIC were so dominant. Was the ability for him to be so dang good on Drogoz or Bomb King, and you can't ban out.
You're probably getting all of them.
And you probably get one
them,
at one point. Yeah.
Having 3 in the pool versus 2, what a difference.
Yeah.
And we've seen a lot of players, like typically when you look at blasters, right, people are starting to reach a little bit further down. Eevee's been coming through, or at the beginning of the split, was coming through a little bit more often because people were like, man, if you ban Drogoz Willow, what are we going to do? We have to go to her. Pip is the one, to me, that has been missing the most. I feel like Pip can kind of fill that role, but some players are still timid as to whether or not to actually bring him in. Do you think that Pip is something that could rise up?
No, I don't think Pip's going to be big in this set. It could, but because I think Bittner's proven he can play a good Pip. Fish can play a really good Catalyst Pip. Both of them can. However, what I think is going to be more interesting
is
Pip.
Remember that?
Unbi has a great Pip, too. There are 3 people who know Pip, like Pip. I can see it happening. I think Inara is going to be the big question here. How do they get Laizy off that Inara? We've talked about that draft that they do. Na'Vi aren't playing very surprisingly complex. It's get an aura, sit her on the point, get 50%, fall back, and hit our shots, basically. There's not a huge drafting component that they're out-besting teams. So if FNATIC can really make use of the Inara, ban her out, maybe get her a few times, I think that could help in their favor.
Yeah, Nara's definitely going to be high priority this set. Pip as well, as he was sort of coming up, you had the guys like G2 that had it in the pocket, had it in the core. Umbi, right, a guy that's played it for a long time. I feel like as far as FNATIC, Fish and Tenor aren't OG Pip players. They've learned it because they had to, I think, and they're not going to be pulling it out, I don't think, if they don't absolutely have to.
I've learned chat wants to know what you are drinking.
You guys see what
I don't know whether
me?
they think it looks delicious or
The Cup of Destiny.
they're just...
It is the Cup of Destiny.
Yeah. Oh, they think it's booze.
Well, that could be.
Someone is effed up right
That's
now.
somebody's
guys.
cup.
I'm gonna level with you. I can smell it on his breath.
That's
To be fair,
somebody's Cup of Destiny.
if you
I'll say
watched
that.
the Renegades SK game, I wouldn't blame you. You're potentially strapping in with
Damn,
at least
bro.
with NIP and VP. You might be in for another 2 hours.
This is something a little special. I guarantee it is fine for even babies to drink. So there's no alcohol content in here. But it's my little special concoction. If you spend some time with me, you'll get to know that I carry around a beverage pretty much my entire life.
I think you've even said in the past that you will have at some points 4 drinks
4 to 7.
that you might be juggling
4 to
around.
7,
Four to
dude.
7.
That's the range, dude. You get you catch him at like a hotel breakfast when the world is his oyster.
There it is.
And he will crack it wide open.
I will.
Well, today is still going to be important, not just because Fnatic are potentially falling down, but with their third place seeding right now, not only is NIP looking to take away number 2, Virtus Pro, if things go really, really well for them over the next couple of weeks, might even be able to take number 3 away. I think it's a very long shot, and I'm not actually sure if it's mathematically possible. I didn't sit down and calculate it out.
Yeah.
But do you think, looking at the way Fnatic has been, they should be scared online and at LAN for what Virtus Pro and NIP have?
Well, I mean, now with Purdue on Fnatic, that's a huge kind of boon. I'm just kidding.
BP.
No, I know. I
was
always
like, wait, what?
No, it's the meme.
Purdue's
I'm trying
everywhere.
to get it going. I always say Purdue is on. Who do I say that what team that he's on? I think I say that he's on NIP. I think I keep saying he's on NIP, but I'm trying to expand that joke and be self-aware about it. I think that honestly, Virtus Pro are in a great spot to make a run here. You can't underestimate them. They are starting to get
anymore.
better. They're only improving, and we haven't seen them for a while. They've not been the talk of the town. Been focusing on Fnatic a lot, but I'm expecting a lot today.
They came alive, fall split when they were number 1 in that tournament, qualifying for Worlds earlier this year. It's our rhythm's a little bit off here, but Virtus Pro kind of came out of nowhere in like the last 2 weeks or so.
Yeah.
So it's definitely a team that they pick up a lot of great players halfway through the split. They're picking up steam. You got to keep them on the radar for sure.
I mean, the last time they played against NIP, they looked really good, even though the set did not go their way at all. I think it was still a 3-0 overall for NIP, but Virtus Pro are showing a lot of strengths throughout all of that. Now they've had a bye week even to kind of keep their scrims going. Do you think that this is going to be a set they could potentially push to 5, or do you think that NIP still have a pretty solid grip?
The only thing that gives me the hope and belief that it's going to be NIP beating Virtus Pro again is that NIP have a little bit more to play for. I don't think Virtus Pro
Absolutely.
believe that they're really in second place
Yeah.
potential right now, but they're looking for a good qualifiers run. But if NIP and Virtus Pro are in the same spot in the league, nobody fighting for second or first, I think that's a toss-up.
Absolutely. Couldn't agree more. NIP are, because Fnatic bled out so many maps on Monday, now they smell that blood in the water here, and they're going to be vicious today, I think.
This is probably going to come up several times throughout today, especially when we look at the standings, when we look at all the numbers that come through. But what is the best outcome for Fnatic when it comes through? It's going to be NIP having to lose this and them at least getting a couple games off of Navi, right? Like, there's not a lot of scenarios that come out
If you want to
ahead.
be realistic, it's a 5-game set for NIP that they are realistically still going to win,
Right.
and then it's probably going to have to be, I don't know, if
At
you
least
wanna,
a 4-game set.
Yeah, at least a 4 or a 5 as well, just so everything kind of stays where it is. And you talk about the rest, the schedule sort of flipping, so NIP will have to play Navi later, and then Fnatic will get their shot at Virtus Pro later on in the week. So they do have the chance to stay alive, but they have to kind of hope that NIP bleeds some maps today.
There's a lot that is still on the line for these two when it comes to LAN and their performance.
There is.
A lot of things that have been changing, but Fnatic, I think, is kind of, that's where my eyes are, right? Navi, at this point, they're sitting up at the top. They've looked dominant in every single set.
Yeah.
NIP are looking incredibly good. Virtus Pro's been on the rise, but it's still kind of question marks as to whether or not they can take down NIP. But do you think Fnatic, at least in their current iteration, is a team that still can make that number 2 spot, or do you think that because of the way things have shifted, this is NIP really looking to trip up to give it away more than FNATIC being able to clinch it.
Well, with the Umbi change, we're yet to see. We'll have to find out today because that's the big one. If he can show up and play the way he knows how to play against the top dogs, Na'Vi, then FNATIC have a good chance of holding on. If he doesn't show up like he did on Tuesday, then I think NIP are going to swoop in for second.
Yeah, I think they could still be a top 2 team, but it's NIP's game to lose at this point.
Well, we do actually have an interview coming down from Na'Vi, at least as to how they're going to be feeling in their set. It's going to be interesting to see how they can handle over on FNATIC, but they are going to give us some thoughts. I believe it was Laizy that we have sitting around, and he's going to go ahead and tell us what he thinks about FNATIC. Hey guys, we're here with Laizy from Natus Vincere, and I just want to go ahead and ask immediately. I mean, you guys have been on fire. How are you feeling?
We're feeling really good lately. There's a lot of progress in terms of like our results, and at the moment we're unbeatable. Looking at how everything looks right now, all the other teams have been improving, even though they've been doing changes, and it's kind of made it like a little hard for us. But obviously, the result speaks for itself.
I mean, coming into the split, you and FNATIC were the only teams that really didn't change too much, and NIP, I think Virtus Pro have even been giving a little bit more trouble than a lot of people I think would have expected coming into the split, but you're going to be playing up against FNATIC next week. How does that feel, I guess, going into it, knowing that you've had some more success against them?
I mean, FNATIC is still the kind of Titan that is supposedly unbeatable online, even though we did win against them the last previous time. But obviously, FNATIC will figure something out, and they should be tougher this upcoming match.
One of the things that really helped FNATIC, I think, pioneer this year was the fact that it kind of switched to a triple DPS, like single frontline, and your team adapted to that no problem. You were obviously able to find success on LAN as well, but now it's starting to gear back towards where we're seeing Ruckus come through. Is that something that you think is a key strategy in defeating FNATIC, or is that just something that they haven't been able to kind of deal with yet?
I don't think it's a key strategy. I think the ones that had the best results with Rockets is definitely NIP, and that's also the reason why it's getting used a lot more lately, or at least that's what I personally think. But I think that it's going to change soon, that Rockets is not going to get played that much, and we're going to see other champions coming through.
Well, it sounds like you guys are relatively confident, still kind of keeping yourselves in check, not having an ego, going up against FNATIC, wondering whether or not it's going to be successful or not. But I think everyone has a little bit of faith in Na'Vi to be able to come through and potentially be the undefeated team this year. So thank you for joining us, Laizy, and we'll go ahead and get
Thanks.
some games.
What's up, gang? It's time for the PPL. My name is Pretty Hair. That's Gore Miser. We talked a little bit about our first set coming at you. We've only got 1 week left of play after we finish up here. These guys are all playing for HRX, of course, the big World Championship Tour. We want you guys to follow us along, though, on live.skillshot.com. We've opened up the PPL this week to Mixer, but live.skillshot.com is a platform that you can go and you can watch all of our content. It's very easy. There's schedules, countdown timers, all that type of good stuff so that you never miss a thing.
The teams, the player bios, all of that. So if you have a team that you're interested in or you want to learn a little bit more about the background of a player, that all information is going to be available on the website. And like you said, like the schedule to pretty much every single broadcast we're going to have. You would literally never miss a Paladins esports thing as long as you're being able to keep up with the website.
Just a couple more weeks till the placement round for HRX begins, but if you want to get your tickets for the big live event at DreamHack Atlanta, those are on sale at highresexpo.com. The dates are November 16th through the 18th. There's a ton of content that weekend happening. PWC as well as the Console Wars, each respective Smite tournament, and every other esport that is destined to be there. The after party, only $50 for yourself here, and that's our specific after party. So this is just for the Smite and Paladins crew, and anyone else that wants to head on over to hrxafterparty.eventbrite.com to scoop themselves a good time on that championship Sunday. Let's get into the standings for Europe, where we are today. We don't have a whole lot of games left to play. Na'Vi, only 3 wins stand between them and undefeated online split, a title that has eluded them through the majority of this year and last.
It is that matchup there, NIP and FNATIC, I think that is going to make the biggest difference overall. Just because at the end of the day, whichever one is able to sit a little bit higher is going to feel a little bit better about themselves. If VP can take a couple of games off NIP, and if FNATIC can take a couple of games off of Na'Vi, then they're going to stay close. But FNATIC is just really hoping for upsets from other teams now. It's not really in their control anymore.
barring catastrophic failure from Na'Vi, they are looking good to make top 2 here. It's coming down to maps, though, it would seem, between Ninjas in Pajamas as well as FNATIC. 2 teams that go very, very far back together, not playing each other today. This is Na'Vi's map pick for Game 1 of this best-of-5 set on Stone Keep, is where we will kick it off. Ice Mines and Jaguar Falls was banned out.
That one, and I've said this the last few weeks, originally to me, that was one of FNATIC's strongest maps. FNATIC have been losing on that map every single time I think I've seen them go there. It's been a lot closer than they would want. People know to ban Drogos against them. They know how to kind of control the draft to make it so that FNATIC can't go there. And when you look at a team like Na'Vi, who has been very successful on Jaguar Falls as of late, I don't mind them taking that out and trying to go somewhere and navigate to different portions of the realm and keep some control in their set.
Well, Barrack will be the first pick here on Stone Keep. And when you look at the bans, it's not overtly surprising. The Torvald is gone, the Inara is gone, Makoa is gone. The biggest thing is that Khan is open, and so I wonder if Na'Vi with this Barrack are trying to build a 3 DPS comp and just want to make sure that they get exactly that, but it doesn't look that way as they go into the Ruckus.
I think it's one of those scenarios where Barrack is very highly contested between both of these teams. FNATIC, Bugsy specifically, I think is the one that will flex onto it, but Unbelievable can play it. It is something that FNATIC has kind of lived as a staple for the last couple of splits. So you scoop that away, make sure they don't have it. Ruckus is going to be very strong on this map, but you don't have the strongest health tanks. Ruckus can live forever, but a couple of Wreckers will change that instantly.
Man, maybe it's just a matter of what Laizy's got in the pool. We haven't seen him play much more than an Inara and Barrack. And Na'Vi go to the triple front line here against FNATIC. The Ashe, the Ruckus, and the Barrack.
You know, I was actually talking earlier that there are a couple champions that I think do really, really well against a triple frontline, like when you know it's coming. But usually this is a strategy that is used by a team, a lesser team, to try and equalize out against a team that's definitely above them. Or if you're, in Na'Vi's case, I think a team that is stronger here, it's just because it gives you so much security, you don't have to really worry about it. I mean, you can make a million mistakes, your health bar kind of makes up for it.
Well, we'll have to see how this one goes, and I don't know, guys. Cast your votes now in chat. When I'm looking at this Cassie, given that Tenor played 4 games straight of big game Cassie, and they're going to have a firing line Khan, if FNATIC can line that up and just lean on Tenor to deal with these front lines, man, I feel like Na'Vi may have slept on what Cassie brings as a big game talent.
Big game Cassie. There is Lex and Androxus, I think, as well, being able to deal based on percentage health. A lot of that is great at dealing with front lines, but it is Bittner, and it looks like it is going to be big game once again, which is not surprising when you look at what Na'Vi are running. I'm wondering what is in their playbook, if this is one of those instances that we're just trying to hide what we are keeping for Week 5, as well as LAN, or if this is them just playing around.
And it'll be Mutu on the Ruckus as well. I was going to ask, but I ran out of time, who you thought was going to play what. Legendary selections. Fairly standard here. Phoenix goes for the Battering Ram as opposed to the Fortress Breaker. That one is definitely have some room to move back and forth, but Phoenix with 2 other front lines on his squad probably doesn't really feel under a lot of pressure to perform the frontline role, and he just barely doesn't have the damage to grab that first blood, but Mutu's going to go ahead and do it for him.
I mean, Jera right now is the saving grace there for FNATIC. It's the only thing that's been keeping them alive. They're all in tight corridor, but because you, like you said, don't have the same amount of damage coming out from Na'Vi, all it takes is a little bit of healing to make sure that they're essentially immortal in the face of a lonely Ashe. Mutu was able to pick up a kill there, but not a lot of strength. And honestly, that 53-47 to me would be wrong if it weren't for the fact that Na'Vi have this kind of draft.
Well, we'll have to see if they can pull it off. Triple frontline, definitely a meta of times gone by. Not one we've seen a lot of here in the fall or the summer. And even the spring split, honestly, you would have to go back almost a full calendar year to see a ton of triple frontline play coming through here. But Na'Vi, maybe with their lead, maybe with their confidence just dabbling, and so far it's looking good for them with a 99-0 win. But remember, Gore, that's what you expect from a triple frontline composition.
Being able to hold on to the point is their strength. It takes up, I mean, essentially FNATIC have to come in and find the kills. Fasheko has to go big.
Oh, God.
But unfortunately, it's not Fasheko that's going big. It's Creatives and Spunky and the rest of Na'Vi that are coming in and finding a ton of kills. The first point, and I think this is going to be widely enabled by the Death and Taxes as well as the Ying. I think those two are kind of essential to make this feel comfortable. I think you could maybe ride in any other support, but having Leon on your side for this makes it so much easier to deal with anybody on the side of FNATIC.
I mean, that just went so right for Creative so quickly. There was somebody even putting that Willow down in a kill threshold of his ultimate, so now he's back to 80%. Na'Vi want to keep this one rolling here. Tenor gets a nice little heal, but Bugsy's dying on the front line. Unbelievable, doesn't really know where he wants to go. He doesn't have anyone to protect here. He doesn't have anyone to shoot at. And Na'Vi are just rolling this one right up to the base of FNATIC. Bugsy just now spawning. We'll have to see if they can manage a defense.
This is going to be another point where, honestly, FNATIC are going to have it rough. This is a nice open courtyard, very easy to dump damage onto whoever's on the payload. But the thing that gives Na'Vi strength is the fact that they have massive health bars. You lose creative, so you lose a big chunk of your pushing power, kind of the spearhead of the spear that is the team. But you still have a ton of health bars. It takes a lot of damage to get rid of Laizy, then to get rid of Mutu, then to get rid of Phoenix. You pretty much have 3 people who don't mind having to stand and dance around the payload. So even though there's a stall, right now Na'Vi, they just spend some of their credits that they've earned throughout the last round and try to come back a little stronger.
Bugsy gets a ton of damage off there, but if anything, I'd honestly like to see Bugsy and Unbe swap positions here. I want to see the Fernando come. I think he can do a little bit better job of just holding this gate. Once I see that stacking come out on the high ground, Scorch Fernando looks pretty good right where he's at, to be honest with you. Laizy does find Fasheko. How? Where? Why? How does Laizy, of all things, on Barrack manage to squeak his way to the backline to take down a Willow from distance?
Well, right now, Lazy's in the perfect position. Dome Shield going to be dropped literally right on top of you, and that's going to be unbelievable death.
Welcome to the Thunderdome, brother!
And Phoenix are still going down. Lazy, despite his best efforts, can't save his full team.
Man, Barrack cannot bring this fight home. FNATIC hold the defense for now.
The Thunderdome.
The Thunderdome, brother.
It worked well for him.
Seats to the murder show at the Thunderdome.
15 seconds
Season
remaining.
Pass is being given out by Laizy, but a lot of ultimates burn. Hexafire, Enlightenment. You're looking at the Dome Shield. FNATIC spent an Immortal and nothing else, and they managed to weather the storm of all that. So if they can just get through this fight cleanly, next round is going to look really good for them. Here's the Illusory Rip from Spunky. Spunky wants to get this done. Na'Vi, they want to go up 2-0 here.
I mean, being able to find this is going to be big for them. Assert Dominance still available as well, so if they want to get aggressive, they have everything in their power to do so still. As they are charging up, Enlightenment's almost back. Mutu does go down, but again, you have 3 front lines. You losing one is not the end of the world for you.
Yeah, but trading out 1 for 1 at this stage, it's going to be so in favor of FNATIC here. Na'Vi have to get kills, and they have to get them in quick succession, or else the respawns are just going to come through. Boom. Unbe is back up. FNATIC are as 5 again. Mutu is still around the corner here, just now rejoining the fight. Na'Vi just aren't getting the kills they need to. They don't have the damage.
And this is going to be the biggest downside. And part of the reason that if you haven't heard in my voice, I just loathe triple frontline. And it's just that you can live forever. You can stall a fight as long as you want, but 9 times out of 10, you're not getting the kills you need. I think if Creatives goes down, Na'Vi lose a good chunk of their pushing power. They have a lot of staying power, but he is kind of the engine behind them that keeps things rolling. The minute he disappears, I think so does the hopes of being able to find a push or a capture for Na'Vi.
Slash lines here not looking bad for FNATIC. 1-1. Again, not bad here. Triple front lines, they want to win early. Because like you mentioned, they are so good at holding the objective. So if I'm a FNATIC fan, I'm not too worried about the spot that they are in currently. I think things just get a little bit easier for them as items start to come online here. Let's take a quick peek at the items to see what everyone is built into. We got double wrecker, only 1 cauterize here. That could be a little bit of an issue for FNATIC later on in this game.
The wrecker is going to help, but Dead Zone is pretty much what they're relying on for anti-heal. I think 1 more cauterize is definitely going to be helpful. And right now, they're being able to pick up kills without it. Unbelievable. Finds 2. Lazy Creatives going down, but looping around is Phoenix Mutu getting aggressive and trying to find the kill on the Gera.
Beautiful body block there from Unbelievable. Goes straight into the Immortal to keep his support alive. 2 answered kills for Na'Vi. Phoenix fighting tooth and nail on the objective, stunned down by Jordy himself as he locks down the final kill for Na'Vi. In this first little skirmish, Spunky, never mind, was dancing around on the objective trying to stay alive there. He was the final kill of that engagement, but Jordy will pick it up all the same. 30% and climbing for FNATIC now as they take map control.
Triple frontline is one of the few metas that I just don't miss. I don't like seeing it that often, and it's because of this. Like, you have a lot of potential, especially as Na'Vi. You're a strong team, and I feel like this fight would be going much more handedly in your favor if you had a different DPS instead of, say, the Ashe or the Barrack. You trade one of those 2 out, and you can have something golden for you. And you still have a lot of prospects with this lineup, especially because of the players that are running it. But I feel like they're giving a lot more over to Na'Vi. Mutu going down right there doesn't necessarily need to happen, even though they pick up a couple kills in the process.
Na'Vi muscle their way to the backline with ultimates in hand. They use a Hexafire, they use an Illusory Rift, and they are winning this fight as a result, 96%. Laizy has been here almost the entire time, barely even participating in the fight, because he's just trying to capture the objective. At the end of the day, objectives are what gets you the point on the scoreboard, and the points on the scoreboard is what wins you the game.
I actually think this is Na'Vi playing to the current meta. And it's a weird way to look at it, but because double frontline was actually really big, again, you wind back about a year ago, double frontline's the norm. And then triple frontline starts coming through, and that was, at the time, what kind of would beat it. And it wasn't the fastest win. It wasn't going to be, like, it was a brawl fest. It was just who ran out of frontlines first. And that's always going to be the team that has one less. And that's when triple DPS started showing up again. Luminary Genos is a good way to deal with all of that, because if you need to burn down frontlines, the best way to do it is just bonus damage. So they're playing it, but it's going to be, I think, a little different. FNATIC, honestly, I think would have trouble with this just because their current state haven't quite been keeping up with Na'Vi the way they used to.
Illusory Rift popped yet again. Spunky's had plenty of these ultimates for his squad. Tenor takes down Phoenix. And with that, it'll probably quell the rest of the aggression that would have been coming out from Na'Vi. Mutu just looking for some poke from distance here, just looking to blow some cooldowns, get some ultimate charge here, play with some angles, maybe look for something to do, but at the end of the day, Na'Vi are currently just waiting for that respawn.
Bugsy's been holding this angle pretty much the entire time. Earlier, you were talking about how you wouldn't mind seeing him and Unbe switch, but I feel like Bugsy's in a good spot because of his shield, because of the bush right behind him as well. He's pretty much covered from all angles that he needs to be. He can see when Na'Vi are going to be coming up on him. Unfortunately, he's still left alone. Doesn't have a lot of initial healing or immediate healing coming down from Jera, and that cost him his life.
I mean, Phoenix just heads to the backline with Ashe ultimate, and he lays down the law. Now it's looking like FNATIC could be in trouble here. This payload inching closer and closer. There's no one down there to contest it. Someone's got to go. It's going to be Fisheko first. Bugsy comes off the high ground just a second too late. Fisheko had to give up his life to keep this round going. Can they stabilize, though? Tenor manages to take down Mutu before having to retreat back into spawn here. Only 30 seconds left on the clock. FNATIC have both their frontliners up. They're trying their best to stabilize this one. A dome shield is dropped by Na'Vi as they really want to commit. They want to push this through.
Creatives was dancing with death, but has stayed alive this entire time. You get rid of him, I feel like you get rid of Na'Vi, but you just keep him alive. Laizy, Mutu tag teaming to be able to get some kills. They keep the Hexafire up even for the end as well. So they're going to be feeling comfortable. And Phoenix, even though he doesn't have a great slash line, there's a lot I feel like that he has been doing that has applied so much pressure to FNATIC, distracting them or forcing them to stay in the base. There was a lot of time that it felt like Unbelievable and Bugsy were kind of alone.
Yeah, I mean, Phoenix definitely got that fight started, right? He heads straight to the back line, zoning out 3 that whole time with his ultimate, gets the full duration of his ultimate. Eventually dies for it, but that is what it is. That's kind of why his slash line is where it is. FNATIC, I think they do a good job. Trigger discipline on their ultimates, though. They realize that even if we spend here, we might not be able to bring this one back. They save everything, and they'll be able to go into this round with comeback mechanic and ultimates. But Na'Vi aren't exactly out of ultimates. They still have a Hexafire as well as an Illusory Rift.
Well, Overpowered is available at the very beginning. Are you going to grab someone, or are they just going to come straight to you? I mean, almost immediately into the laps of FNATIC, but does not care. Phoenix is getting as aggressive as possible, and that's going to be the Immortal already popped.
He's just looking at Tenor here. That's the only person he wants. Splash damage and anti-heal. Phoenix, remember that in round 1? Remember when he didn't have the damage to push through? Well, now he's got Cauterized. Now he's got the damage to push on through those kills. And all this clumping from FNATIC is just getting punished by the Flak Cannon from Ashe.
And being able to find, I mean, 400 is a chunk when you're looking at these lower health bars. Now he's going for Jera. He knows exactly who he wants to go for. This is not just Ashe. This is a flank in action, looking for the kill. Doesn't plant the flag to get it. And he actually gets forces the ult just to hold him back.
The peel is so good. He might still. Couldn't get the reload off, but how much time was that, Goremizer? That was an ultimate from Bugsy. That was overpower. That was cooldowns. That was Dread Serpent. That was so much that he was able to buy with that. Plenty of time. And that's going to read as 1 and 8 on his slash line now, so you're right. He's, you know, got a terrible slash line, but he is getting work done.
Right now, that 57, it seems like a big number, but you can see FNATIC's already passed it. They're going to be able to catch up incredibly fast with the comeback mechanic. What it does for Na'Vi is it equals out the time. Now they just have to stand there about the same time that FNATIC has been on the point. If they can get a couple kills, they have to contest early, but they should be able to hold it with a couple of good kills and a nice push. That could turn into a 4-1, but Bugsy's trying his best.
Creatives gets the triple kill, and Bugsy's just left on an island. Gera staggered out nicely as well. Gore, that'll probably do it. I mean, there's dismounts coming through here. There's ultimates being spent by FNATIC. They're trying to get back. Fasheko the first to fall in this fight. That looks like map 1 going to Na'Vi. The triple front line finds success.
And again, this is something, and this was mentioned all the time. I think the first time we saw it, it was like, okay, cool, maybe this will work, maybe it won't. And then it became the norm, and after a while, it was just, this works if you are either very far ahead or very close. Otherwise, this is not a strategy that is really going to be able to work out. Na'Vi showcase exactly how strong they are, I think, by making it win, and exactly what it does, which is you can't get us off the point, and if you do, good luck taking it back once we get back on there.
I think Na'Vi did a really good job having the balls to run that composition, but what I mean by that is that push and when that puts them up 3-1 instead of going 2-2. That was, I don't know, that was kind of wishy-washy. That could have gone either way, but they just spent ultimates. They made sure they kept their cool, and they just committed to what they thought they could find success in, and they do, and that's why they're up 4-1 in this game.
I want to give props to Phoenix. Creatives, I think, had not necessarily the easy job, but his job was pretty much solely get as much damage down as you possibly can. Kill whoever you think you can kill.
You had no pressure on him.
Phoenix was 2-9, but Phoenix is the one diving into the back. He's forcing 3 people to look at him. Even if he doesn't come out with a kill, Phoenix is the one giving, I think, a lot of space to make sure that the rest of the team can find success. So Creatives capitalizes on that, I think gets all of the clean kills, the clean work.
Ugh.
The dirty work was left for Phoenix right up there.
That happens so much, where Creatives was forced to pop an ultimate, maybe a little bit preempt. That was just gorgeous there. I had to comment on that. But these ultimates that people are just barely getting put into kill range there, right as the ultimate, right as the projectile is coming through the space in the video game, that is what was making his performance so special, is that every single time he's getting a killing blow. Just about every single enlightenment that we caught on broadcast there found a killing blow, and that means 50% ultimate charge back.
It's not often, I feel like, Creatives of all people misses that ult and using it appropriately.
Yeah,
a lot of the
definitely
times
not.
you'll see that go away for Leon as if you force her, like, I need the immunity. I don't need the damage, I need the immunity. When you see someone like Creatives piloting it, 9 times out of 10, it's more than likely used, partially for immunity. You can get some good healing, but also he's going to come out with a kill, and that makes you feel happy.
He got the immunity, he got the kill, he got the damage, he got it all, baby. He was rocking and rolling, 12-5 on that Leon. Great performance out of the gate from Creatives, and almost the same 4 bans coming here. Khan, the only difference from Game 1 to Game 2, and Nara will go first and foremost to FNATIC, and Na'Vi will head right back to their early barrack.
Well, you know, I think it was Evan, actually, who had brought up what exactly is the Nara going to be doing throughout this set. Last game she was banned, which I think was appropriate. Both of these teams really highly value her, but I think Na'Vi, of all teams at this point, know how to deal with it. They've figured out at least a little bit. Barrack and Ruckus is going to be probably one of the best, and this allows FNATIC to have some flexibility. They don't exactly have last pick. That goes to Na'Vi since they're second, but you can kind of see from here, unless they go support DPS, you don't know. Is it going to be another triple frontline? Are they going to go double damage? What exactly is Na'Vi trying to accomplish here? So FNATIC have a little bit of flexibility with the Yanara, but maybe not enough.
It looks like they're just content to let the Yanara sit on the objective. They're drafting a front line that can do damage from afar with Barrack, get in people's faces with Ruckus and Ashe, and this support that Spunky can he can pop, 19 illusory rifts again, and give everyone healing globally across the map. And no matter how far they want to go in, no matter how deep they want to dive, they're going to get some type of support. And it's just the simple run back here from Na'Vi. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. They grab the exact same composition from Game 1. FNATIC almost with the same composition from Game 1. They just swap out a Willow for a Kinessa, and they grab an Inara instead of a Khan.
Inara, I think, is going to be a little bit stronger here. But, I mean, normally I think I would harp on the Kinessa, and I'd say this is a 4v5, which gives it to Na'Vi. If Phoenix plays the way he did last time on Ashe, I'm assuming he's just going to run it back, then I think Bugsy is going to have a lot of trouble. But because it's Bugsy on Kinessa, I want to give FNATIC the benefit of the doubt. They're like the only team that I see regularly go to the Kinessa and regularly make it work.
Do you think it is going to be Bugsy on the Kinessa?
Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, double frontline, I don't know, dude. They've been flexing around a lot. They actually ended up losing one of their lands because of the way they were flexing it. And it's actually Bittner. So I take back what I said. I'm not sure if I can trust FNATIC with this anymore.
They did this. God, when did they do this? They did a really strange Frog Isle draft. I think
The last
Bugsy.
land.
Was that last land? Bugsy was on like Barrack. I think it was Fisheko on Kinessa actually. And Tenor, I think, was on like a Fernando or something. It was wild times.
Because I remember we were all
At Frog
commenting
Isle
on
High.
Theo not being on one
Yeah,
of the
we
front
were
lines.
just
Or
like,
he was
what
on
the
the
hell is
wrong
happening
front
here?
line.
We don't know what's going on.
Makoa went to Bittner.
Well, Tenor can aim. This much we know. So, they can get him the space. I think the kid can put the crosshair on the head, pull the trigger, do the thing, but there's so much from Na'Vi to get in his face. So far, so good, though. Nobody's really been troubling him too much. Tenor stays alive, grabs first blood.
I think this is actually a testament to FNATIC when the way they're being able to handle it. These shots are so
Ooh,
beautiful.
Spraying while scoped in. Big play here.
I'm happy to see it with
You
the
love
way
to
things
see
have been going, but I'm looking at when will front lines on FNATIC die, because I think that's the minute pressure gets applied to Bittner. Until then, he's free firing, and this is going to be the easiest game for him. FNATIC needs to get back there to be able to cause some trouble. Otherwise, Bittner has literally nothing to worry about.
And FNATIC are 99% on the objective. They've got that in R. They're doing what Na'Vi have been doing to them all split long. They're parking the Stone Lady on the objective, and they're taking care of business, as well as you have to commend Bittner for just the changing of angles that he's been able to execute.
Yes.
He is staying involved in this fight. When he doesn't have anything to shoot, he moves until he does.
Well, I do not mind eating my words immediately. If you're going to be able to play like that, I will gladly take that what I said was wrong.
Well,
it's just outright wrong.
You're not wrong yet, because Tenor hasn't had any pressure on him. We'll see
True.
how he adjusts. Good Kinessas are defined by their ability to play under pressure, like Hakate, for instance, when he knows that all 5 people are coming straight up the gut at him. How he rotates and absorbs that pressure is what makes him such a special player.
So right now, if I'm Na'Vi, you have 2 minutes left. Yes, I think you're going to try to hold back FNATIC, but a 2-0 in favor of FNATIC here actually is not the worst thing in the world. Triple frontline works better with a comeback mechanic. They love having that. It's either equal footing or comeback mechanic for them, and it's going to be difficult to displace them. If you get FNATIC being able to apply pressure then to Bittner, it makes it so much easier for this composition to just keep rolling.
Tenor trying to exit. Creative's hot on his trail, but will allow him to escape with his life for now. This is a fairly aggressive triple front line. It's not super passive. Oof, and we saw the weaknesses of that there. FNATIC were just able to park an R on the objective, and then, you know, I think a lot of credit to Unbelievable on Fernando. He was able to hold down his side of the map fairly effectively. Mutu scoops one with his Hexafire, gets a big ol' heal from Ying. Those early game Ying heals are tough to punch through. Trying to chase down this Kinessa, stunned and murdered here in the streets of Frog Isle. Gord goes down, trying to keep these boys alive. But this is all rather inconsequential, in my opinion. I don't think much is going to be gained either way off a win in this team fight. That's halfway through the round, halfway through the map. By the time anyone gets to anywhere else, you know, people are going to be basically respawn here. So, you know, very messy mid-round here from FNATIC and Na'Vi.
I think what's a little more important is how do these teams use their ults? I mean, Hexafire already came out. Do Na'Vi go ahead and pop anything else that happens to come through, or do they try to force as much as they can from FNATIC, who are notably one of the few teams that has probably the most trigger discipline next to Virtus Pro when it comes to throwing out their ultimates?
This has been admittedly close. FNATIC are looking a little bit more themselves here on Frog Isle. We'll have to see how this game evolves. Talked about how triple frontline does get a little bit weaker down the stretch in some capacities. I feel like that's mostly true, though, for passive triple frontline comps that just literally want to live longer than you on the objective. But with Ruckus, with Ashe, with people diving as deep as they have been, and Laizy's not admittedly super AFK on the objective this game either. He's trying to just land shots, I think, the whole time while the pressure's being applied. We saw how much more impactful FNATIC was able to be, like, once he got anti-heal online. Then Ashe's damage actually means something, because it can stick.
Point spawning in 15
It's
seconds.
can he get into the back line like last time? I mean, that's like
got
FNATIC
skunked, dude.
last time around was just sitting in the perfect spot, making sure no one could do anything. But 7, 2, and 8, like Bittner is sitting in the back. There's no real pressure on him, and if that continues, that's the reason, like, if you don't go Strix, if you don't have a sniper to really contest it from long range, you have to have a flank, or in this case, a Mutu or a FNATIC who can just get back there and try to stop him from hitting headshots, body shots, any shots from the back line.
Body blocking coming out again here on a Phoenix, but it looks like Laizy and Mutu have managed to penetrate the backline. A Dome Shield is committed. They want to get Tenor off of his perch. They want to put pressure on this backline. How will FNATIC respond? This is the most important part of this team fight, is what happens after the initial blast of all these ultimates coming out from Na'Vi. So far, a 1-for-1 exchange will define this fight in favor of no one yet. Laizy going down shortly thereafter, but again, Tenor is found quickly thereafter. Na'Vi have been on the objective the whole time. The strength of Ying, her ability to provide support from an incredibly long range.
Being able to get pressured out, though, at 81%. Yes, it's a huge number, but you're going to have to be able to reclaim this. And last time it didn't work that well. Now you pretty much lose all pressure you could have had on that sniper. And with Phoenix going down so staggered out, you're fighting a 4v5 kind of perpetually at this point.
Need to hit these heals. Spunky doing a good job keeping everyone up. 56% on his next ultimate as well. Mutu needs help. Everyone needs the healing here, but only so many people can get it. Bugsy on the Inara, parked safely on the objective, climbing back into this one here as we are about to even things up at 81% apiece. FNATIC dead even with Na'Vi here. Seismic Crash comes out, misses Phoenix. Wall goes up. Bugsy alive by just a mere couple of 100 HP. Getting big healing, though, from over the top, and Tenor is coming through in the clutch. The crosshairs on their heads. The trigger is pulled, and the damage is coming through. Creatives just dancing around this podium, trying to buy time, trying to distract. He will go down all the same. Overtime started in favor of FNATIC. Overtime ended in favor of FNATIC.
Bittner finds a double kill, and we switch over to Kinessa. The last thing I expected was to see him down in the thick of things. I expected him to be, again, up on the perch, either in window or jumping over the wall right next to the window, looking for headshots left and right. He's down there, carbine ready, trying to get in Creative's face. Not something you typically see out of a Kinessa. But again, that's been his strengths. A lot of what has made Bittner work is not only the space he has, but his repositioning, his relocationing, and making sure that no one's going to really lock him down if he stays, like, he's in no spot for too long.
The kid's got a shot. That much is clear. He's done a really good job staying in line of sight of targets as well, like you mentioned, down in the thick of things, not wanting to just sit idly in the window, bunny hopping around like most sniper players will do. Tenor doesn't appear to be most sniper players. There it is. Beautiful connections there from Fisheko and Tenor at the same time. Creatives just wasn't prepared to take 1,800 damage that quickly. He goes down. Another Dome Shield is dropped. Bugsy does a good job neutralizing it with the wall. Everything here about equalized on either side. FNATIC trying to break the corner. One more kill will go their way as that campaign continues. Now Laizy getting collapsed on. One Rocket Boots will save him for a short time here. Looking for that failsafe reset. He'll get it, but he won't get the Rocket Spoof off in time. Laizy not buying quite as much time as he'd hoped for.
Still have a Dread Serpent available immediately. Headhunter as well as Scout. So two things that can combo relatively well and make Bittner's life really easy if he's looking for just headshots. And Na'Vi, this is when things get, I think, really awkward on Frog Isle, because yes, you have respawn proximity, but there's not really a good holding spot for you. You're either up around the payload, or you have to get down right into the middle of the open. Phoenix goes into the back line, and Phoenix goes down.
Umby with a nice fireball over the top of the shield. Here's the Illusory Rift coming out from Na'Vi. I think Umby realizes that this fight is probably futile at this stage. He's going to stay stuck to Spunky here like glue, but he recognizes that this fight is over. The second two of his teammates die, and the global AoE hot is popped from Ying. Love the skin as well. Great synergy here from Spunky. Using the, I think that's like the Carnival mirror.
Yes.
And then the brand new skin for Ying. Death Speaker, I think it's called, something like that, but it's really, really cool looking here.
Absolutely feels like death is speaking to you when that ult is popped.
Yeah, it's kind of spooky, and it doesn't sound like Ying ult, you know what I mean? I'm not used to that voice line yet.
The first time it popped, I was genuinely scared, as is Na'Vi potentially right now, as FNATIC are starting to knock on their door.
Kind of sounds like that Demon Genos ult line, you know what I mean? Where he's just kind of like hissing, and it's like very, barely discernible words, and just a lot of hissing coming through. Na'Vi find 2 kills. An awkward fight here, as FNATIC rotate down to the objective as their backline is sort of given up for free. And as you can see, Gara and Bugsy, the last 2 to fall. That's because Na'Vi just weren't concerned with them at the start of that fight. They went straight to the backline, killed the people that are lethal in this composition, and then they were able to rotate back in, easily kill the point front line and the support.
Na'Vi in that last round, you could just watch the entirety of it and see the strengths and weaknesses of a triple front line pretty much the entire time. At the very beginning, because they're so tanky, they can hold on to the point for a long time. They get to 81%, it looks really good for them. And then they get displaced. They get taken off of the point, they get pushed back. And that's where things start to fall apart for that kind of composition. It's not easy to come back in, especially when Creatives is having the game he's having. It's 3-9 right now for the Leon. Not a clean game especially when compared to who I guess he has to rival in this one, which is Bittner. Unless Leon steps up, I don't think they have enough pushing power on Na'Vi to not only find a push, but be able to hold on to the point as long as they really need to.
Well, Mutu playing Ruckus, something I was a little bit surprised to see. I thought Creatives, if anyone, would have been playing one of these front lines, because he's normally the more flexible guy on this roster, and falling apart out of the gate. Na'Vi, 4 for nothing in this fight. Creatives just backs off, unless he already died and just respawned that quickly, but Tenor pops the Headhunter. The Scout comes through, a very nasty combination. All the damage of Kinessa with all the vision of Strix. It's basically the super sniper. And what is that Hexafire gonna accomplish there? I mean, Unbi borked that dash, so if anything, he helped him a little bit there, but I don't know what that was supposed to do. Maybe flush FNATIC right back to the objective. Mutu wants to make the space happen here. He's trapped under a dome shield at the moment, trying to find some damage out of it. This is a very scary turret when it's literally a champion placed under the dome shield. I like that combination from him and Laizy.
Being able to find it, they do pick up a couple kills. Not the best Hexafire, but it did what they needed, which was just make FNATIC kind of scramble back towards the point as opposed to getting aggressive into them. I think that was one of those ults that, admittedly, in terms of damage, doesn't find as much, but in terms of effectiveness, I guess it still gives them the zone they wanted to come back 93%. Bugsy's not even going to be able to touch down before his health disappears.
That's not good. Look at this shield just melt from Umbi. Good fear from Gera. Try to buy some time. Fisheko might be able to bail FNATIC out here. He's already found 2, looking for his 3rd. Tenor's laying down the carbine fire. He will find it, but not before Mutu was able to pick one up. Creatives versus Tenor. This is it, the 1v1 for all the marbles here. Creatives just turned, it looked like he turned his head. He just didn't want to get headshot there. Seismic Crash will come through from Bugsy, throws up the wall. He's a Nara, he's buying time as much as he possibly can, but in the end, it all ends up the same. Unbelievable, heads back to the objective. I think his charge was already down, and Na'Vi will manage to just pry this one away from FNATIC's cold, dead hands.
I mean, that's one of those moments, and this is part of the reason Kinessa is such an iffy pick. If you are in that scenario where you are Bittner, and you miss that scope shot, but you have to get in to be able to contest, you have to be able to hold it, your Carbine versus Leon's rifle. Carbine is never going to win that fight. Like, there is no instance unless Creatives miss literally all 8 shots and all of his abilities. Even
what
the
if
ones
he
that
slides
double
off the
aim.
map, Gormizer?
Well, you know, if you can slide off the
Bet
map.
you didn't account for that. Neither did Creatives.
No. I don't even think Bittner did, honestly. Like, I don't know if anyone expects him to do it.
And Laizy, I think the boys realize after that little blunder, they lose their only damage dealer. They have to go for the quick little reset ski.
Hard reset.
Quiet little time here on Frog Isle. Everyone's just heading back to positions, trying to get this one wrapped up again. There's been a lot of these kind of quiet little moments between these teams where they just really want to get set up for a very high execution fight. Illusory Rip is the first thing popped here. Everyone with that 600 HPS hot straight to the back line here. Phoenix gets what he came for, and he might just get a couple more. A little bonus objective here. Now Tenor. Beautiful read from Phoenix. Knocks him up into the sky. Will it be enough damage? No, before he gets back into spawn. But Phoenix knows exactly where Tenor wanted to go, and he was right there with the 800 damage shoulder bash. Almost found himself the kill as well.
Being able to force him back, though, you can't shoot through that barrier on either side, so no one's going to be able to get that damage off, which means FNATIC are kind of locked down in the same kind of awkward positioning that Na'Vi was in. But this is better for Bittner. I mean, he wants to sit back and just use this long line of sight, nice open area, unless Laizy and Phoenix can stay up here. But Unbi gets a triple in the back, and it doesn't matter what front lines you have, 30 seconds is not going to be enough for one person.
The FNATIC front line just put their foot down and claim 4 lives. And Na'Vi will head back to spawn. 3 ultimates versus FNATIC's 5. 20 seconds on the clock. We'll have to see what Na'Vi elect to do with the rest of this round. They have a Hexafire, they have a Dome Shield. Dome Shield is a great way to get this point started. Laizy will creep his way in. He's probably going to be the first one to pop here as he now starts to head down, and Bugsy's falling lower and low here. They need to be careful. Phoenix is doing a good job zoning. Na'Vi may have breathed life back into this offense in the final seconds of this round.
A perfect spot for Dome Shield, forces everyone out. Seismic Crash going to come in and get the stun, but you're still going to die.
That Dome Shield, dude. That was crazy.
That was perfect position.
It's right there on the conversion point. It saves Laizy's tail. Phoenix retreats into it. It absorbs Seismic Crash. I mean, what else can you ask for? That is an ultimate well spent there from Laizy down the stretch. Na'Vi They ignite the spark once again to take another 4-1 victory here on Frog Isle. One victory stands between them and a perfect set here against FNATIC, a team traditionally we would have expected to take them to 5.
And I am actually interested to see these numbers that come through, as well as the items that are there. 205, 208,000 healing from them, but it's 107,000 damage from creatives. I'm wondering what his slash line was at the very end of it as well, because he went into that last round, I think 3 and 9, has to pick up the slack, has to be able to pick it up. Hits it at 4 and 11, goes 1 and 2 for the last round. It is all on FNATIC, who is 13 and 11 there, that I think does a lot, and the Master Writings, who I have to say were MVP, at least on getting everyone from Na'Vi back onto that objective at the end.
Yeah, very nice usage of ultimates. Very nice usage of ultimates there. Laizy doing a lot of heavy lifting down the stretch for Na'Vi. 7 and 11 on the Barrack. The point frontline man himself, 89,000 damage as well. Pretty nice conversions of the rifle. Boots himself in, drops the dome shield down. Now watch. FNATIC barely gets into this one. He stays alive. Bugsy really wants this kill. He seismic crashes and the dome shield just absorbs all of it. It's no worries for Na'Vi. That is basically, that was it for FNATIC. That was their fight. That's where they wanted to turn that around. And I think Bugsy maybe thought that was going to get the kill onto FNATIC because he was low when he retreated on the dome shield, but no dice this time around. Na'Vi will take the map. FNATIC will get to select the next map because we're in loser's pick now, and it will be Ascension Peak.
Honestly, this is, when you get to this point, especially as FNATIC, you're having to go through the line of what maps are we really good at that Na'Vi can't play? And there's not a list that actually is Na'Vi can't play. It's just what are we really good at this point. So you had to go, well, Ascension Peak.
That's an important distinction.
At least at this point is FNATIC's, I want to say, one of their stronger maps with the way things have been going. So I don't mind them going here, but with the way Na'Vi has been playing, I actually think triple frontline's going to be really good here.
Certainly.
And I hate to say that.
They
I
get
hate triple frontline
You hate to say it. You hate to say it. You hate to see it. It is what it is. It's happening. 4 front lines are banned out now. Na'Vi will have second pick here. Nara is open notably. FNATIC will scoop it first. FNATIC also ban away the Barrack. We'll have to see how important that becomes as we head later on into the draft here. Drogos is also open for the first time. He does not survive very long. Notably, Furia basically unpicked, unbanned this entire set so far.
You know, I know why Na'Vi's been doing it.
Why, Gore?
Blasters really are what kind of tear apart frontlines the most. I think they are the ones that are able to deal with them the best. Drogos specifically. Willow can kind of keep up, but I think Drogos and Bomb King are the ones that are best at being able to deal with it. There's no Drogos on the other side. You can deal with the inherent damage from just a single target on the side of FNATIC, so I think it makes it a lot easier for them not having to worry about it.
Sure, and maybe on paper it could sound that way, but again, this has been a pretty aggressive triple front line from Na'Vi, pretty spread out. They pick the Ying every single game here because they want to be able to heal that very spread out composition. They will round out with the Xin here, so no triple front line this time around for Na'Vi. Who do you guys will think will win at this point? Cast your votes for potentially the final time here, depending on if FNATIC can stay alive. This is a good comp from FNATIC, but another solid one from Na'Vi.
I guess who wins it all? Drogos or Nara? I mean, at this point, Drogos...
Yeah, those are the big kind of talking points, right?
Unseen, normally first pick, but we mentioned Unbelievable. I mean, Unbelievable's usually on an Inara. At least that's how it was when he was on Na'Vi. Lately, it's been a little different here with FNATIC. But Laizy, 9 times out of 10, is going to be sitting on an Inara if you can give it to him. So Bugsy going to be taking up that role. Laizy this time on the Ashe instead of FNATIC, as Mutu switches over to the Drogos.
Oh, man. I can only see Bugsy on an R for so long before I get frustrated. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Feels like too much talent, too much flexibility just to park there. Triple DPS was their meta, man. Triple DPS was the FNATIC meta. I don't like their roster for like these 2 tank lineups, man. I really just don't. I think there's so many talented DPS players on FNATIC. It's tough to watch them play these comps where, you know, Bugsy or someone else has to step up into this frontline role and just sit on an objective where they're not exactly, you know, making any highlight plays.
And it is just the worst, because whenever you look at the 3 other players, right, when you have Bugsy, or if you have to look at Bidner, I mean, even to an extent, just looking at anyone that's not Undy, essentially on FNATIC, and say, who do you want to make play a frontline on this lineup? Like you said, there's no one. You don't want them to switch
Yeah.
away.
I just want them to play 3 DPS.
DPS, but
all day.
it just hasn't been working.
Ooh, big damage here from Phoenix. This is some good rockets into the back line. He's been really effective, but now he's getting pushed. Trying to hide out under here. Double Yin Clone healing, as well as the life exchange coming through here. Big heals. Now he can recommit. Bittner goes down, maybe over aggression. Just forgot about Phoenix being right there, receiving healing that whole time. Really good stuff. Phoenix has played this fight beautifully. And now Bugsy will be left alone on the objective. One of the most talented, flexible players in the world. Walled off in a corner. That's what's annoying about this.
I think...
And that's what I thought they may have been
Yeah.
able to avoid, you know, by picking up Unbeat. They could have done, like... Maybe they can actually make use of that 6-man and, like, do Unbeat and Thiel in a game, and maybe Tenor or Fasheko, whoever's hot that day, right? Have them potentially step in and, you know, play these DPS. I don't know. A lot of questions for FNATIC nowadays.
I mean, that actually would have been probably one of my favorite strategies to see because, like you said, watching someone like Bugsy or Bittner have to switch from this DPS onto a frontline just doesn't really reward them as much to show off the talent that they truly do have. FNATIC is incredibly strong, but right now they're 48-51% as they tick it up 1 to 99 and just dropping like flies.
And, you know, I mean, Unbeat's a great Fernando. Fine Fernando. No problems with it at all. Well, he played Inara for like a year, dude. He played nothing
that was
but
his only
Inara
competitive champion.
for like a year. I mean, he did nothing but point frontline for so long. And Bugsy, when it was time to do double frontline back in the 3 DPS meta, he would do the Khan or the Fernando or whatever the hell it was that needed to be done, sometimes Ruckus. I don't know. I think Bugsy needs to be doing what Phoenix is doing for Na'Vi currently, and it's weird to see Unbeat not doing what Unbeat was doing for Na'Vi and winning lands with and beating FNATIC with all those times. Again, not to say point frontliners aren't talented, but it's just Bugsy is the most
style.
He's the most flexible player in the world.
Yeah.
I don't understand why he needs to be the guy on point frontline every game. He can play whatever secondary tank or flex onto some DPS. I don't know. I'm gonna have a chat ski with Adrian. I want to talk to him about this.
I mean, at this
I don't
point,
get it.
we're even looking at, as Rainday had said, this is a team that was drafted more for LAN than for online, right? They're not really hoping to change too much online. Second place is still going to be nice for them. But, I mean, if they take this as a 3-0 loss and NIP can find themselves a 3-0, then they're going to be separating themselves from FNATIC pretty fast.
I gotta be honest. I mean, that's the way I thought it was gonna play out. When I saw that Unbeat and Theo were switching out, I'm like, I mean, duh. This is Unbeat's gonna point
Just
front line.
play Na'Vi, yeah.
Not to say they were gonna continue to 3 DPS, but I thought for sure Unbeat would be playing. Maybe it's like a comfort thing. I don't know, because Unbeat is coming off like a two-month vacation or something like that. Maybe he's just not confident. I don't know. FNATIC have some figuring out to do for sure. A lot to be talked about with this comp. They only grabbed 2 kills in the first round,
5, 4,
as opposed to the
3,
Na'Vi
2,
11 or 12. Laizy exactly enough credits to pick up Cauterize 3 after just 1 round of play, but that's Ascension Peak. When Laizy's playing the objective basically the whole time, he's just going to be getting a stupid amount of credits. Fortress Breaker Ash throws down the shield as well. He's being ignored at the moment. He needs to, yes, stall the objective, but find a way to be effective here as well. FNATIC do a good job just ignoring him and killing all the lethal members of Na'Vi. Finally, they collapse down on the Laizy Creatives. The last one left alive. And there it is, a FNATIC team fight victory. They spent a couple of ultimates for it. Certainly, Na'Vi have some to spend to try and take this back core, but I don't know if they'll have time to get back, straight up.
Yeah, comeback mechanic and the length of this map really lending itself in favor of FNATIC. They have to get a couple kills right off the bat in order to make this difference, but that's going to be the touchdown. Laizy dashes in. Phoenix is going to be able to find 2 on his own, and that makes this a 3v5 with 3 nice, healthy members still alive for Na'Vi.
Yeah. That's the type of stuff, man, right there. You know, you see that pick on a Spunky, you see just a couple of ultimates and like half a map to go. That's a good turnaround kill on the Laizy. We'll see if FNATIC can make this change hands yet again, but those are the types of mistakes and the types of situations that you really don't want to let Na'Vi back in the door on. When you have the lead, you need to seize it. Kills are being traded either which way. Tenor finds Phoenix. Creative's running out of cooldowns. Resets again. Spunky's here to heal up Laizy. Laizy has his ultimate. He's going to buy so much time. This is an extremely long point fight. My goodness, we must have been going for at least 3 or 4 minutes at this point. Creatives is swinging away with the Inferno Blade, trying to find some way to be effective. Bugsy will be the recipient. And what are you doing out that far, Fasheko? He's just off on an island by himself. Getting picked off here. Whirl puts some damage through the Fernando shield, but not as much as Creatives needs. Whirl's up in 3 seconds unless Unbi gets a heal. He's going down here. This could look really pretty for Creatives. Looking for the highlight reel play. He's already found 2. Swinging away to try and find his 3rd and 4th. Almost has his ultimate as well. Up very, very shortly into Billow. He goes overtime. Still in favor of FNATIC. So FNATIC, because they are at 99, continuing to stall this, they're actually just buying so much time. Mutu, that's a wise call, just to forget about that Dragon Punch. And bumping his head on the skybox, no one's going to know where he's coming from here.
Expects him from behind.
Yeah,
Mutu is deadly. And it's like a stealth move by someone that has no stealth. You come in, now you're being able to get a lot. The pressure from Na'Vi is just too much.
That's the fun part about Dragon Punch, is that you can, and that went from a bad situation to a good, and that's just the type of player Mutu is to make that recovery. Is he got a little hasty. He shot that off from a pretty terrible position. He almost got killed mid-flight, right? Yeah. But then he goes, I wonder how high the skybox is on Ascension Peak. Let's find out. And then he just flies up as high as he can, thrusts, finds where the skybox is at, knocks his head into it, and then I mean, how could you ever anticipate, Dro? I don't think I've ever seen somebody come from over the top of the temple on Ascension Peak like he just did.
And a lot of that round is salvaged, I want to say, from the Assert dominance and the fact that Creatives had a fantastic round. The healing behind them, everything goes through. But once you need to solidify it, that's enough to hold on to overtime. Mutu going over the rock gives them the point just because of the pressure they have.
Yeah.
And now FNATIC are in this position where they're on their map. Their draft obviously can work. They've shown it been able to work. I think that's the first time I've seen someone willingly jump in that well.
I mean, it comes back to, again, you just don't let Na'Vi back in like that. You had them on the ropes. You had comeback mechanic. You had your zone. You got a free pick onto the support. Fasheko killed Spunky. And you just let them come back in. Phoenix gets a double kill with his Hexafire. That just can't happen. They opened the door, and Na'Vi came back in. It's that simple. Hey, Mutu. You exploring new trails over here, brother? Brother man Dragon Punch? Mutu, the great explorer of Ascension Peak here. Not interested in killing people with his Dragon Punch. He wants to take a more passive approach.
Fly around the map, see what's on the outside. Does he get killed if he goes out there? Evidently the answer is no. He's able to fly around, still alive, still able to find some damage and a kill even to boot onto Unbi. And now, as a 3v5 pushed back into the base, FNATIC are watching Na'Vi slowly approach their doorstep.
Fiddlesticks here, Gore. Fiddlesticks. FNATIC just looking a little bit bested today. That's a good disengage there on a Phoenix, but he's getting some healing through now. Look at that Ying ultimate top him back up. And the fear doesn't connect onto Creatives. He gets into the Billow there. Na'Vi are playing very, very well at the moment here. Tenor is pumping damage into this Ruckus, but he is just not dying. Laizy will die. Mutu, where will he explore on his next adventure as he lands a Dragon Punch actually onto a frontliner this time? That'll do. That'll play. Last couple of seconds here, and look at this turret up on the payload. Poor little Fasheko. He had to roll into that one, but he managed to get himself out of the situation. And FNATIC will get a point on the board, as they have done every map so far this set, but will they bounce back entirely?
That was purely respawn proximity that I think feeds them that, right? You take a little bit more room and give it over to Na'Vi, that push goes in. But that is playing against the map or playing to the map. Maybe if Mutu had an earlier kill with a Dragon Punch and stuff flying around the side of the map, maybe it goes a different way, you never know. As Na'Vi, I mean, that to me is kind of indicative of how Na'Vi are feeling, right? Like right now, they're not worried about the sweat. I mean, they're up 2-0, they're 3-1, 10-7 for Mutu. You're 5-6, 15 with Phoenix. Like, you're not worried about this not going your way. You're just kind of playing for the sake of playing. You're having fun.
When did it happen, man? When did Na'Vi just get so dominant? It's kind of crazy to see. This is a team that just you know, a year ago they were starting to really pick up steam, but
I mean,
you got to remember, Virtus Pro qualified as the first seed going into Worlds in January. Navi and FNATIC were 2 and 3. But it's just been such a skyrocket of a year for Natus Vincere, a team that was just stonewalled in 3rd place for all of 2017, basically. They just kept toughing it out, kept toughing it out, kept toughing it out, and eventually they got there. And now they're in a really good spot here against FNATIC, trying to keep their undefeated season dreams alive, headed into Worlds. So far, so good. Ultimates are landing.
What if the world we live in is where Navi win a world championship, win every international LAN between world championships, then come back and win another world championship? Like,
that would be nuts, man.
that would be the...
That's the Grand Slam.
At that point, everyone retires. And you're like, you know what? We did it. No one is ever going to be able to top that in the history of Paladins.
Spunky would be the 3-time world championship. He will have won every single world championship Paladins has ever put on at that point. What a god.
Definitely dominating. Definitely looking.
You know
like
what?
they
Let's
are,
just watch Spunky for the rest of this fight. Because he's a god. This is time. This is the god himself. This is the potential 3-time back-to-back-to-back punching mirrors. That's his 797th illusory rift this set. I'm not making that number up. That was
No, it's actually genuine.
My producer just fed that to me. He said, yeah, that checks out. And he's about to get his 798th illusory rift here. Spunky the god himself.
He's actually popped about
The beast
7,000 of
from Finland.
those over his history of Paladins.
Yeah, he's an absolute monster, an absolute mountain of a man. 300 IQ, MVP of the set, guys. Go ahead and cast your votes now. It should be popping up in chat if you guys are over on Mixer. That's where those votes happen. And you know, I didn't mean to skew the votes, and I kind of forgot about the MVP vote. I didn't mean to skew the votes or anything, but he is shaping up to be our first and only 3-time world champion. And you gotta ask at that point, I mean, can that even be done again? Paladins would have to survive at least another 5 to 10 years just so someone has a chance to go back to back to back. I mean, it's one hell of a feat Spunky is lining up, and the rest of his squad would, of course, be the 2 times. Laizy just missing that ring. Of course, he played for NIP at the prior Worlds, but he did win Worlds 1 with Spunky under the Burrito banner. Theo and Bird and Bonker also on that roster as well.
It is not often after a Navi FNATIC set that I come out of it not sure how I feel about the set. Because, like, good for Navi, but I'm trying to look and plot out FNATIC's success in the future, and I'm not sure where it goes.
They're trying to figure that out too, man. You know, I think they were just as confused as the rest of the world as to why they just couldn't win these LANs when they just smoked everyone online for the majority of this year. Navi went, I can't remember if Navi, no, FNATIC were undefeated both splits, spring and summer, and they just couldn't get it done at LAN, at the event. Navi, congratulations to them. They were great here today. You know, they tried some new stuff. They got three front lines, and it will be Spunky as your MVP. Congratulations.
I wonder why.
To the man, the myth, the legend, the beast, who popped a record 797 illusory rifts this set alone in just 3 games. I mean, gosh, what is that? You know, 200 and some odd ultimates per game? That's a lot.
It's impressive. That's what Morale Boost 3 can do for you as a Ying.
Yeah.
This has been your
so
PSA.
you get your morale boost, your Ying, so it charges quickly already.
Yeah.
Your team's buying Rejuvenate, as well as both of your World Championship rings.
They help you break the mirror.
Yeah, they
I can
punch
attest.
through
This is
the
about the
mirror
right size.
extremely effectively. They conduct a lot of ult charge from the air around Spunky.
This is true.
And allow him to ult much more frequently, actually.
Some of the passives people look over a little bit too often.
Yes, and these are all objective facts. I won't hear any arguments otherwise, guys. Thank you for watching this first set. We're going on a quick little break, and we'll be right back with NIP VP.